So I was around 12 years old when I first watched it, not knowing it would be the biggest mistake of my life, because once I watched it for the first time, I got hooked to it for another 7 years, and it took away so much of my life. And I don't want the same thing to happen to you, because once I overcame it, I realized how much damage it's doing to my mind, my habits, and everything. And in this video, I'm gonna be telling y'all how I started and how I overcame it, and I'm gonna be giving y'all some tips how you can overcome it too. Next video, I'm gonna be giving a full breakdown on how you can overcome it yourself. So if you want to see that, leave a like and subscribe. Let's get into some gameplay. So the first time I actually watched Korn, I don't really know if you can say the word, but the first time I watched it when I was around 12 years old. And I remember because this is when I got my first iPod, my first mobile device where I could just go on the internet and watch stuff. And one day at school, there were some friends that were talking about watching, Korn and stuff like that. Yeah, it's a weird conversation, but yeah, they were talking about it, and that's when I first got introduced to it, because I was pretty much a good kid. I didn't know about all that stuff, and that just sparked some interest. And then when I got home, I got curious. I started looking on some websites. I looked at it for the first time. And long story short, I just went to my restroom and I just watched it and did it for the first time. And deep down inside, yes, I knew that I was doing something wrong, but yet it felt good in the moment, and I just kept doing it from that day forward. Now, after a while, it was like 1 or 2 years later, I wasn't feeling that guilty. I was just doing it every night because it felt good. But after a while, I started to see the side effects of it. So I wanted to stop because I was getting way more lazy, and I heard online that it kind of made you lazy. I felt like more nervous, like antisocial. I didn't want to really talk to people. And overall, my habits were bad because I was just playing the game. I wasn't really working out. I was just eating. I was just basically I felt like a loser at the crib. And every time I watched Korn, it felt like I was even more of a loser. And on top of that, I was scared to go and talk to like females and stuff like that. So I was a virgin. Mind you, most of the people I hung out with were not virgins at the time. So I was getting clowned, to be honest. But yeah, I was just trying to ignore them for a while. But I ended up scrolling on Instagram and social media and stuff like that, and I started to hear about NoFap. Now, the first time I heard about NoFap was from actually Soul Illuminati. So he dropped his video on how he went on NoFap, and so that motivated me to want to go on NoFap too. So I started watching more videos on NoFap, and it even got me into spirituality a little bit. I was trying to meditate, get my mind off things, go sun gazing, and it kind of worked for a while. It was like, maybe I went on like a 5 to 6 month streak, and I started to be more like active and stuff like that. But after those 6 months, I started to get on social media a lot, and I started to watch some Netflix series with all the sexual scenes and stuff like that, and I fell again. So if you want to go on NoFap, make sure you are always staying active and staying consistent and disciplined, because you will fall if you continue to stay on social media and stuff like that. But yeah, I fell, and I went back to my old ways for a while. And at this point, that 6 month mark, I thought I would never be able to do it again, because that was kind of like the hardest 6 months of my life. And since I gave up on that, I started to not want to be a virgin no more, to be honest. And I already had some like female friends, because that was kind of my strategy to get like used to talking to women. So yeah, I just had a lot of friends. And since I was on the basketball team and I was friends with a lot of athletes, that kind of pushed me to like want to lose my virginity. No homo at all. Yo, bro. But yeah, since it was the norm to lose your virginity at such a young age as an athlete, or go to parties and stuff like that, I kind of wanted to fit in. Yeah, don't do that. Just be yourself, bro. I promise you, if you're a virgin, it's better off. But yeah, then I had that desire for a while to just want to lose my virginity, and it wasn't until one of my friends came up to me and said that his female friend, thought I was cute a little bit. And so we ended up talking for a while, and then yeah, we got in a little talking stage, and that's, long story short, I lost my virginity then. But yeah, we were in a talking stage for like 3 to 4 months, I should say. Yeah, it was like 3 to 4 months, and we ended up ending it. But yeah, even after that, I still wanted like a higher body count, because I guess that was kind of the norm. But honestly, I just really did not feel right going down that path. It felt like I was kind of forcing it, so I kind of just chilled for a little while. And then I just ended up going back to, Korn. But, every time you go back to Korn, you want more. So, and honestly, I didn't want to do it. I wanted to stop, but it was like, it was an addiction at this point. So, honestly, I didn't really know what to do. I tried spirituality. It didn't work. I tried, like, meditating, get my mind off it. It really didn't work. So for a while, I was just living life, and I actually got a job at Lane's Chicken. And the side effects weren't too bad because I was on the basketball team and because I had so much going on. It didn't seem like the side effects were too bad. But it got to the point where I was doing it every single night, and I just thought it was a bad habit. Because it got to the point where I literally could not go to sleep without doing it. I would stay up to 2 a.m. trying to go to sleep, but literally nothing would work. It literally wasn't until I watched Korn every single night to where I was able to go to sleep. So I know some people might relate to it, so that's the only reason I said that. But what gave me the push to stop was not only that I started seeing TikToks talking about how you should stop watching porn and stuff like that, but there's this one night at my job, like I told y'all, I worked at Lane's. There's one night where there was nobody there. It was like basically empty. Now this customer didn't even want anything. She just drove by. And when I met her at the window, she literally asked, "Do you know Jesus?" And since I was raised Christian, I was like, yeah, I know about Jesus. And she told me, you need to stay away from these women. You need to stay away from lust because God has a higher purpose for you. Now, mind you, I had never met this person a day in my life. She wasn't even my race. So the only way she could have knew that is if it was actually from God. And so that made me want to stop watching Korn for a while. But honestly, I couldn't stop, to be honest. There was times it didn't even feel like I was doing it. It just felt like it just felt like a routine at that point. And it got to the point where I was just seeking God for help. I was just seeking God for answers. And I started to doubt. I even started to trip. It was like, did that really just happen? Is God really trying to talk to me? And so I just said to Jesus, if you can hear me, take away this desire, because I don't want to do this anymore. And when I did that, it was like the desire to do it, horniness, literally went away. Literally, even if I tried to do it, I couldn't do it because I wouldn't get that temptation anymore. I wouldn't get that desire. And so that definitely made me want to go and start to read the word and start to learn about God more. Because yes, I grew up Christian, but we all have that time where we just start to forget about religion and we just start to do our own thing. And yeah, that was me. But when I had that encounter, it was like I had to start learning about God more. And I was cool for like another 5 to 6 months. But every single time when that 6-month mark hit, I started to go back to my old ways. And because I really didn't know about the spiritual side of things, I was literally just going off the Bible. I really didn't know how to have a true connection with God. I was really just reading the Bible and saying the same prayer every night. So after 5 or 6 months, I started to get tired of doing it. And I started to go back to my old ways, watch a lot of social media. And long story short, I fell. And the reason why I failed, the reason why those temptations started to come back is because I stopped reading the word. I stopped praying. I stopped relying on Jesus to actually get me through it. And I started to rely on myself. So yeah, I was stuck in that bondage for another 4 to 5 months. But I knew I had to stop one day. So I just kept fighting. I kept learning about the word. And I kind of just used that for motivation for me to get closer to God. But I was basically just living for the world while trying to keep God on the side. And so yeah, for 4 to 5 months, I just continued to do the same thing and just live life without God. But again, I was just in this cycle of wanting to stop and then continuing to do it. This time I was like, all right, God, this time I'm actually gonna stop. I'm getting older. I need to stop doing this. And so I continued to learn more about God and continue to seek and learn more about spirituality. And so as I was getting closer to God, it started convicting me more and more every time I was watching Korn. So there's one day I just made up my mind. I was like, okay, this is the last day I'm watching Korn. And so that night when I said that, I just had this overwhelming desire to go and do it. But I fought my way through that night. It was like I was waking up doing push-ups. I was punching my chair. I was making sure I didn't do it that night. And that next morning, the desire was still there. I literally had the desire to go and do it. It felt like I couldn't stop. And that whole day, I just had this desire to just go watch Korn. Now, I wanted to stop, but I just felt like giving up. I just felt like I was just going to do it that night. And so I was in the house the whole day most of the time. So I was just thought, maybe let me go outside and maybe that desire, it'll help change that desire. And so I went to my car and I just went to the normal spot that I usually go. I just go to the park. But I just had this conviction to just honestly turn on some worship music and just for the first time, because I really didn't get the point of worshiping. I seen people cry in church to worship music. I really didn't get the point of worship. I just thought it was singing lyrics and giving thanks, but I thought we did that in prayer. But I just had this conviction. I remember watching a reel months before about how to feel the Holy Spirit, and I just turned on that playlist that was in that. I'm gonna pull it up on the screen. But yeah, I played those songs because I was convicted to do it, and I thought maybe that would help take away the desire. And when I did that, I don't know what it was, but I just literally started crying. I just felt this presence around me, and I can't even explain how, like, it was just crazy. And when that happened to me, I really couldn't understand what was going on. But now that I'm deeper in, I realized that there's people out there who had similar experiences to what I went through. And I believed I was getting baptized with the Holy Spirit, getting filled with the Holy Spirit. But yeah, after that, I never had the desire again. Like, ever since that day, I've yet to go back to my old ways. But there are still some things that I have to do in order to stay away from getting those desires. Because yes, the Holy Spirit gave me the strength to stop. But like the first time that he delivered me, I went right back to my old ways because there was things that actually cause those desires. And I'm gonna be actually giving y'all a full breakdown on how you can actually stay away from those desires and finally overcome corn. And I'm gonna be actually dropping that video on Friday. And yes, there are some spiritual things in it, but there are also some that aren't that spiritual. So yeah, as y'all can see, I could not get a dub in Fortnite. I don't know what it is. I placed third this time, so I'm getting closer. But I promise next time it's gonna be a dub. So yeah, I hope this video edified you in some way. If it did, I actually dropped a video on the first 3 ways that God actually spoke to me. So if you want to see that, I'm gonna leave it at the end of the video. But if not, leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Stay blessed.